Hi everyone, and welcome to the second webinar for Jam Advertising. Hopefully my webinar skills are improving as I go along, and today's topic is about how to set up a marketing budget. I have a lot of clients talk to me about, look, how much do I need to spend, how much to get my business set up, and or I need to lift my marketing. What sort of budget should I set? And look, it's really quite a tough question, because really you could keep spending money on marketing, and as a result, it may vary your cost per acquisition quite significantly, and or you might find that sweet spot. So a rule of thumb just generally is around 7 to 10% of gross profit for an established business should be allocated towards marketing. When you're starting up, it can be a little bit difficult to know what 7 to 10% of your gross profit, often of nothing, is. And as a business owner, you have to just decide what you're actually comfortable spending. Often that financing money is coming from your own pocket or an investor. You might have somebody to answer to about that. So really understanding what's comfortable in your mind about spending, but do acknowledge that to build a brand, to gain market share, whatever your goals may be, that you will have to spend money on your marketing. So if you want to spend peanuts, that's fine, but just don't expect the growth that you may be desiring. And just be realistic and ensure that you're finding what this level of comfort is based on some research as to what your competitors and what's happening out there in the market too. So first goal is really establish what you're comfortable spending. Then what I suggest you do is you categorize your marketing budget. So divide it up and kind of set up buckets of money that it can actually be a really useful tool to capture what your ROI is as you're spending. It's also a really good discipline to get into when you're looking at how your marketing dollars are being spent. And when you grow to a particular size and you have a lot of conflicting priorities, it's a really good way of knowing where you need to substitute one thing out for another. So what I suggest is have a look at some different groups where you may split your marketing budget into some different buckets. For example, you might put a percentage towards business development. So that's what you're happy to spend on lunches, networking events, some gifts to referrers, whatever it is that you do from a business development perspective, but you need a little bit of money to do that. Then put a percentage, say, towards advertising, so your traditional above the line mediums, what you're spending on radio, print, TV, billboards, that sort of thing, so that you can definitely get a hard cost associated with that advertising dollar. What percentage you'd like to spend towards your online marketing. So this is your SEO, your search engine marketing, your social media marketing, the display advertising you're doing, the campaigns, but not your actual website development costs or the maintenance of that. That comes in a different category. Then look at the percentage that you want to put towards discretionary marketing. So that's things like your collateral, your signage, graphic design, printing. This is where your website development comes in. If you wanted to develop an app, all those sorts of things come under this kind of discretionary marketing. Things that you have to spend money on, but they're never going to give you a hard return, but you need them to make your business tick over. Then a percentage for any sponsorships you may do. So this is looking at if you do any local community sponsorships, if you do charitable donations where you match your employees' dollars that they put towards, whatever it is that's kind of in that sponsorship of charity, community giving type of space, pop it in this bucket. And then you may consider actually just having a percentage for brand. So you may choose to have a brand spend when you know that particular activity is simply a branding exercise, but you won't so much receive a call to action as a result of that. But if you really think about your marketing, there will always be that brand element that you have to spend to build a brand and to be front of mind. But that's not necessarily going to get you a result from the actual advertising you're doing. Say, for example, your search engine marketing, where a click is $1 spent to get you to get your consumer to the website. So just think about your marketing in those sorts of buckets. Then what I'd say is prioritize your projects. So have a look at what projects you have on the go, whether it's a website upgrade, whether you want to do a launch campaign, whether you need a logo overhaul, whatever it is, prioritize them and obtain quotes. So look at Australian-based companies, but also search for offshore as well. There are a lot of opportunities to outsource some of these smaller jobs that we may not have the budget to do, but they might be a simple task for an offshore freelancer. So be open to all sorts of opportunities to keep costs down where you can. And sometimes, it's not a giver of quality to send it offshore. It might be that your logo just needs a little bit of a tweak, and you can easily get that done offshore. So yeah, look at whether you need a new website. Websites vary so much in cost and functionality and optimization for search engine campaigns and optimization for mobile and all those sorts of things. If you need a payment gateway, so you really need to obtain quotes from a number of different people and really get a good idea of what that website's going to cost you if you need to upgrade it. Consider whether you need to keep printing a brochure or whether you can transfer it into a digital EDM, electronic direct mail. As I said, look at where you can outsource some of the cost to pull those marketing budget elements, that discretionary spend that I spoke about, down a little bit lower. Consider what your graphic design costs are, and look at this online advertising space in terms of what your competitors are spending. There's a good chance that your competitors are spending in the online advertising space, and that will set the tone for what you need to spend in, say, your search engine marketing. So that's always a really good place to start when you're looking at how much do I need to really spend online. Be clever with your spend as well. Where are the people in your target market looking or searching, but maybe your competitors aren't? There might be an emerging group, there might be an emerging market, there might be an emerging tool that people are using, but you might be the first to be able to jump on that. Often that means that you can get it at a better price as well, and you can negotiate quite well on your advertising spend. So really kind of have a good look around where your market is and think outside the normal square of your industry or your what your competitors are doing. It's really important not to focus too much on what our competitors are doing, because they can often stifle us in our creative thinking. So be different, be bold, and don't be afraid to do something new. Make sure you measure. What are you putting out and what are you getting in for your marketing budget? So it can be as simple as having a spreadsheet with those, say, buckets of money in each category. Make sure your team is definitely asking the question when you get a new inquiry, how did you come to know about our company? And then putting that against the spend, obviously on a monthly basis. Look at it quarterly, look at it annually, look at trends, and you'll really start to ascertain what that cost per acquisition is, and whether a particular medium or a particular bucket is overusing your marketing budget, and maybe you need to consider pushing some into another area. So you might have some really high sponsorship costs, for example, where you've committed to 10 different organizations that each of your team members have asked you to do, but you might not actually feel like you're gaining much from that sponsorship. And while it's a nice to have, maybe you could reduce that down to 3 or 4 per year. Have a little bit of a vote internally, do whatever you need to do to make it seem fair. But then put that money maybe into where you are light on, say, in online advertising, and really pop that up a little bit further. So that's why I suggest you make those buckets of money to begin with your marketing budget, so you can really understand what's working for you and what's not. So with these things, I never want to talk too much, but happy to have a chat. My contact details are obviously on my website, and please email me through to gem@gemadvertising.com.au, and I will send you a copy of this webinar in a transcript so that you can have this information easily accessible. And happy spending on your marketing. Thank you.